From outrageous demands to being caught in lies, here's our list of embarrassing secrets leaked about Meghan Markle. Starting off, we have change phone numbers. While Meghan was pregnant, she surrounded herself with good friends that she had for years, but a royal insider said her outrageous requests almost destroyed these relationships after she issued a shocking ultimatum. Meghan called her closest friends and told them that they needed to change their phone numbers for security reasons, the source said. She said that the palace security had told her that they didn't want people to be able to track Meghan through her friends' phones, but her friends said no, and she reportedly got very mad at them. It said that Meghan was being completely unreasonable, and she threw a fit and decided not to talk to some of her friends because they dared to stand up to her. Yeah, you can't really demand someone to do that for you. Next up is leaked story to the press. Now, the Royal Observer learned that Meghan has previously leaked stories to the media, which she has denied. In August 2020, OK Magazine reported that the couple's publicist provided a royal journalist with information about drones flying over their house in California. The reporter filed a request under Freedom of Information with the Los Angeles Press Department. The Freedom of Information requested that the report give away his source as a rep for Harry and Meghan. Now, the reporter cited the exact address in the document, which was provided to the LAPD. Now, the same reporter then cited a source in a report for the Daily Beast for an article titled "Fearful Prince Harry and Meghan Markle report multiple drone flybys to LAPD will now pay for their own security." The source / the publicist then went on the record to suggest that the couple was dealing with unimaginable levels of press intrusion. It's then been said that every time someone is quoted as a friend of Harry and Meghan post royal life, that is actually their publicist. Then there's code names. In 2018, a report claimed that Prince Harry and Meghan's bodyguards stored the couple's numbers using secret names so that if they ever lose their phones, the numbers are not leaked. In fact, the report even revealed the code names that are being used for Prince Harry and Meghan. It said that the couple are called David Stevens and Danvia Scott. There is a clue in choosing these names, as both have the initials DS, which refers to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. In the past, reports claim that Prince William and Catherine have their numbers saved as Danny Collins and Daphne Clark. Now, sources say that considering the risk it poses, these code names are changed at regular intervals so as to ensure no one who isn't supposed to lays their hands on their numbers. And finally, there's sister calling out lies. Now, Samantha Markle has claimed that her half-sister Meghan lied to the royal family about her past. Now, she made the claim during an interview with Fox News host Tucker Carlson. She said that her half-sister Meghan had told the royals in the UK that she had worked at the US Embassy in Argentina before her marriage to Prince Harry. Now, Samantha said that Meghan was only in Argentina on a study program and not for a proper job at the embassy. Since 2013, Meghan has often talked about how she worked for the embassy while deciding to double major in acting and international relations at Northwestern University. Now, Samantha said the role was in fact an internship paid by her father, Thomas Markle, with her uncle writing a letter of recommendation. She explained, "Our uncle Mike, who worked for the embassy, as a favor to Dad. Dad paid for a 5-week study program. A 5-week study program, it doesn't equate to working at the embassy," which she told Rachel Ray and Craig Ferguson on live television. Meghan Markle has been caught lying about media coverage, her wedding, and even giving birth to Archie. So here's our list of the top 10 times Meghan Markle's lies got debunked. Starting off, we have she paid for school herself. Now, Meghan claimed that she paid for her own university's tuition fee through part-time jobs, scholarships, and hard work. But Meghan's half-sister Samantha revealed in her memoir that Meghan got whatever she wanted and needed from their father as a child. Samantha said that her sister became more demanding of Thomas as she got older. He was paying for Meg to get a great education, and instead of showing gratitude, she was belittling and controlling, Samantha wrote at the time. Next is the flight. Meghan and Harry said they'd buy Thomas Markle a first-class ticket from Mexico to the UK on Air New Zealand. Due to everything going on with the press, Harry said, "We told him get out of Mexico right now, a new level of harassment is about to rain down on you, so come to Britain." Now, on Air New Zealand, first class booked and paid for by Meg. Now, this doesn't sound like a lie, but an Air New Zealand spokesman said the airline has never operated flights between Mexico and Britain, and that they only offer business premier fares, not first class. pass. Now we have the newspaper. During a visit to London in November 2016, weeks after she was revealed to be dating Harry, Meghan walked from Kensington Palace to the nearby branch of Whole Foods. Now the prince says that she queued at the checkouts, and before her were rows and rows of magazines and newspapers, and on all of them, under the most shocking and disgusting headlines, was her. But for the headlines on the day in question, November 10th, Meghan did not feature on a single front page. Now even if she had, she wouldn't have seen them at Whole Foods because they don't sell newspapers, and the only magazines it stocks are specialist lifestyle publications. Now I can't even think of a logical explanation for this other than them lying. Moving on to the lawsuit. In Spare, Harry complains that Meghan's lawsuit against the Mail on Sunday, which they announced in October of 2019, was barely getting covered at all in the newspapers. He said the lawsuit wasn't as covered as widely as, say, Meg's daring to shut her own car door. In fact, it was barely covered at all. Nonetheless, friends took note. Many texted, "Why now?" Now, this just isn't true though, because the media actually heavily reported on the lawsuit. Now let's talk about lying about birth. The palace announced that Meghan had gone into labor after she had given birth and was already at home with Archie. Now Archie was born at 5:26 in the morning on May 6, 2019, but the palace didn't announce anything about the birth until 2 p.m. that afternoon. Then Meghan and Harry didn't fulfill the tradition of taking photos with Archie just hours after he was born. Then there's privacy. Meghan and Harry went on and on in the media about how bad they wanted their privacy and stated that was the reason why they left the royal family. But the pair then went on to do a bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey, had a 6-part docuseries with Netflix, and then Harry came out with a memoir. On to the fight. Meghan and Harry claim that William attacked Harry in the kitchen of Nottingham Cottage in 2019 and that he fell on one of the dog's bowls, which cracked due to it being ceramic. Now there are two holes in this story. The first is that Harry and Meghan were not living at Nottingham Cottage in 2019. They were living at Frogmore Cottage during this time. They were, however, living at Nottingham Cottage in 2018. And finally, the dog bowls were metal, not ceramic, as shown in photos that were taken before the alleged fight. Now we have that she didn't know about the royals. When Meghan and Harry got engaged in November 2017, she claimed she barely knew who he was or his family was when they went on their first date. But Meghan had written about Prince William and Kate's wedding on her blog The Tig, and her friend said she was fascinated by both the royal family and Princess Diana and had aspirations of being Princess Diana 2.0. Next up are Archie's photos. Meghan suggested that if her son Archie had gone to school in the UK, he would have been hounded by the press and paparazzi. However, there are strict rules governing the press which prevent photos being taken of children at school, so this wouldn't even be possible. And finally, we have the secret wedding. In the Oprah interview, Meghan claimed she and Harry had a private wedding without witnesses 3 days before they exchanged vows in front of the world. It was just them and the Archbishop of Canterbury, but the Archbishop has denied legally marrying the pair, but refused to rule out a private vow swapping ceremony before their televised wedding. Meghan Markle has made plenty of mistakes in the public eye, so here's our list of the top 10 times Meghan Markle got called out for being rude to the public. Starting off, we have her Nigeria trip. Now Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were on a 3-day visit to Nigeria. Now it was their first official international tour since stepping back from royal roles in 2020. Notably, the couple is not on a visit on behalf of the UK government or King Charles, but rather on an invitation by a Nigerian Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa to bring attention to Harry's Invictus Games. While there though, the Duchess was slammed for being rude during her 3-day visit to the African nation. Biographer Angela Levin reportedly criticized Harry and Meghan over their unofficial royal visit and called their appearance phony and awful. Speaking to GB News, the author said that Meghan was awful and rude during an interaction. She was very rude because one of the teachers was talking to her and there were 2 girls there joining in politely. Levin spoke about the visit to Lightway Academy College. Bored Meghan then sort of pulled Harry, which she usually does, the author claimed. Levin also spoke about the outfit she wore. If you go into a school, a very quiet school that is a religious one, you don't go with a dress that has absolutely no backing to it at all, she said. Now we have taking the mic. Meghan and Harry attended Kevin Costner's 1805 Live charity event back in September 2023. Now the couple were seen at Kevin's $26 million polo field in Santa Barbara, and when they were at the event, the couple got on stage with Kevin, which was when an awkward moment appeared to take place. Now on Twitter, one page shared a video clip of Meghan at the event, with them pointing out the very cringe-filled moment. Now the video showed Meghan walking towards a woman who was walking towards her before the Duchess reached out for the microphone the woman was holding. As Meghan reached out for the microphone, the lady held onto it tightly before Meghan broke her grasp and the lady walked past her. She then directed the lady in the direction she was meant to be going. She's all manic over the attention. She thinks the lady is giving her the microphone, one person said, while another said, "OMG, the secondhand embarrassment," and a third said, "Ouch, so embarrassing." Then there's staying on stage. In May 2022, a cringeworthy video was taken following a tournament at the Santa Barbara Polo Club. In the video, Meghan was seen walking on stage to present her husband and his Los Padres teammates with a trophy. But then she stayed up on the stage and things got awkward as she appeared to wish for a spot in between the players when no one was acknowledging her. Meghan then tried to grab an item from one of Harry's teammates, but he refused to give it to her. Royal expert Cara Kennedy said that this wasn't a PR opportunity, but Meghan must have seen it that way. Now this is why I think the spare stuff is even more telling, because Meghan knows the full outcome of Harry's memoir is going to be embarrassing for her and going to be kind of bad image-wise, so she stayed away from that kind of PR crusade. Whereas stuff like this, the polo match where he's trying to get his own thing, he's trying to get into local sports with the local team, she just can't help but kind of crowbar her way into every photo, the royal expert claimed. Next up is the photo op. Meghan was recently filmed seemingly refusing to let a woman stand next to Prince Harry for a photo to celebrate his polo team's recent win. Now in footage posted by Hello Magazine, Meghan scoots closer to her husband's side on the stage at the Grand Champions Polo Club as another woman attempted to get beside the Duke. They were posing for a photo op following the Royal Salute Polo Challenge, and Meghan stood her ground though as the unidentified woman did not budge. The Duchess was heard asking, "Do you want to come over here?" Meghan then smiled while motioning for the woman to stand on her left side instead, as someone else in the video again suggested, "Come over here." Now the woman proceeded to duck under the championship trophy and settled in a spot next to the Duchess. One person said of Meghan in a video of the incident, "She seems insecure regarding her husband. That's why she keeps clinging onto him, and any woman who stands beside him is told to stand beside her." Another added, "Meghan's controlling personality on display for the world to see. So lacking in grace and generous spirit. She has included herself in Harry's team win. Mortifying." And lastly, we have the celebration claim. Now Meghan claimed that she was told by a South African actor at the 2019 Lion King premiere in London that the celebrations after her marrying Prince Harry were comparable to those when Nelson Mandela was freed from prison. Now Dr. John Canny was the only South African actor in the cast, and he denied these claims. Now he also took deep offense in comparing that with Mandela's release from prison. Then Nelson Mandela's own grandson commented on the claim that Nelson's release from jail was the culmination of nearly 350 years of struggle in which generations of our people paid with their lives. So it's been proven that this never happened and she lied for no reason.
Well, it's official. The first 3 episodes of Netflix's highly anticipated documentary called Harry and Meghan has been released. As a result, Buckingham Palace has been preparing for what they fear could be a fresh wave of bombshells as the couple's most controversial project lands on screens. The 6-part series explores their relationships and the various incidents which led them to step away from the royal family altogether. According to the couple, making this documentary was a sensible thing to do due to all the misinformation that's been spreading about them. And so far, the new series has called a lot of things into question. So let's get into it. Here are the top 10 lies exposed in the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary. Number 10, fake footage. One of the key subjects in their new documentary is undoubtedly the intrusion of the media. It's the way that Harry and Meghan have tried to frame their situation. Harry and Meghan have tried to frame their situation as exactly what the late Princess Diana went through. In a clip showing various images of his mother being hounded by paparazzi, Harry says, "The pain and suffering of women marrying into this institution, this feeding frenzy, I was terrified. I didn't want history to repeat itself." But even this clip in the 1-minute trailer has already been criticized for using footage that is completely unrelated to the couple, all to try and paint a very specific picture of them trying to escape media attention. They also added in footage of Katie Price during her court appearance, a Harry Potter film premiere, and even a clip of Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, being chased by photographers. But that's left a lot of people wondering, why don't they just use their own footage if the same thing has been happening to them? Critics have also pointed out that the images of a photographer on a balcony taking a picture of the couple while they're holding Archie is completely staged. It turns out that it was actually from a photo shoot with an accredited photographer during Harry and Meghan's visit to Cape Town. But the documentary tried to make out that this was a super intrusive moment of them being captured on camera. So obviously they've chosen to stick with the story that they just want to live a reclusive life away from it all, but they cannot help being dragged into the spotlight. Number 9, Meghan wanted to be single. Another idea that the documentary pushes is that the Duchess desperately wanted to remain single before she met Harry, and that she had a fantastic life without him before it was all ruined by the press. Meghan, who had already been married once before, said that she was intent on being single, and a friend is quoted as saying that she was set on having a single girl summer, and then came H. She said that their first private date was at the Soho House venue on Dean Street in London, which is a private members club for creatives. Harry turned up late, and Meghan said she wondered if it was a demonstration of male ego, but he was apparently sweaty with nerves and immediately dispelled her fears on that front. Their first date lasted an hour, and she said she thought Harry was great fun. She then asked him to dinner again, back at the club, which he told her was so American and forward. The camera then cuts to Meghan's friend and Suits co-star Abigail Spencer, who says she had a whole life before she met H. Another one of her friends says she had a core group of friends. Meg was very outgoing, super social, living in Toronto. She was very open-hearted. Meghan then says, I lived in a great little residential community. I had my 2 dogs. It was great and low-key. Go for hikes and walks, go to set. I loved my job. So all in all, she wanted to reiterate that she really loved her life before she met Harry. Number 8, they both made sacrifices. During the first hour-long episode, which includes a sit-down interview with the couple, as well as clips from a video diary, Harry can be heard saying, "This is about duty and service. And I feel as though being a part of this family, it is my duty to uncover this exploitation and bribery that happens within our media. My job is to keep my family safe, but the nature of being born into this position and the level of hate that is being stirred up in the last 3 years, especially against my wife and my son, I'm generally concerned for the safety of my family." Harry describes his and Meghan's relationship as a great love story, saying that she sacrificed everything she ever knew, the freedom that she had, to join him in his world. And then pretty soon after that, he ended up sacrificing everything that he knew to join her in her world. So basically, Harry made it seem like they both gave up certain things to be with each other. Meghan gave up freedom and the ability to live her life how she wanted. And then obviously Harry ended up giving up his royal duties and separated from his family to be with her. Later on, he also brought up the situation with her father Thomas and said, "Of course, it's incredibly sad what happened. She had a father before this, and now she doesn't have a father. And I shouldered that, because if Meg wasn't with me, then her dad would still be her dad." Number 7, dealing with paparazzi. Meghan opened up about the fact that she essentially had no training for her new role as a member of the royal family. She had recounted the blunt warning that she got over the phone from Harry shortly after news broke of their relationship in 2016. She said that while she was living in Toronto and filming Suits, she encountered a pack of 9 or 10 paparazzi as she was leaving a florist. She said, "They were all sort of blocking the cars going, 'Hey, how you doing, Meghan?' And I said, 'Oh, thanks. Stay warm, guys.'" Then she said, "I remember Harry saying the next day, 'You can't talk to them.' And I was like, 'I'm just trying to be pleasant. I don't know what to do. I've never dealt with this before.' And he said, 'Yes, but the UK media is saying you love it. You're smiling. You love it.'" The screen then cuts to images of tabloids that came out about Meghan, implying that she liked the attention from paparazzi. Essentially, the Duchess believes that the press took advantage of her naivete in order to generate negative headlines. Although at one point she also says, "It's so funny if I look back at it now, because now I know so much and I'm glad I didn't then, because I could just authentically be myself without so much preparation." Number 6, stories planted against them. Another massive allegation that Harry and Meghan made in their new documentary was that the royal family not only failed to support them during the media storm after their wedding, but at one point the palace even went as far as planting stories about them. In one clip, Harry says, "There's a hierarchy of the family. There's leaking, but there's also planting of stories. It's a dirty game." Which is followed up by a clip of Meghan crying and saying, "I realize they're never going to protect you." The explosive news series claims that there was a war against Meghan to suit other people's agendas. So essentially, they're claiming that the royal family were behind a lot of the negative stories that were published about her. During her infamous sit-down with Oprah, Meghan made it clear that Kate had a role in a scandalous report that came out about her during the royal wedding, when there was a series of headlines saying that she left Kate in tears due to a disagreement they had about bridesmaid dresses. According to Meghan, the reverse happened, and it was actually Kate who made her cry. And then she says, "I would have never wanted that to come out about her ever, even though it happened." So she made it seem like Kate was the real instigator, but unlike her sister-in-law, she would never want a bad story to come out about her. But obviously she was just upset that Kate did not publicly denounce those headlines, even though she did apologize in private. Number 5, Meghan's family. The Duchess said that she believed the British press were hell-bent on trying to make her mother fodder for the tabloids. She said, "You just have my mom, who's classy and quiet, and then you have the other side of my family that is just acting differently." Meghan went on to discuss her half-sister Samantha Markle, who she said was suddenly everywhere when her relationship with Harry went public. Meghan was bewildered by her comments in the press and said, "I don't know your middle name, I don't know your birthday. You're telling these people you raised me and calling me Princess Pushy." She also addressed the incredibly sad series of events that led to the falling out with her father, Thomas Markle. Meghan claimed that she was unaware that her father was working with the media. She said she didn't know that he was selling staged pictures of himself to tabloids until a week out from the wedding. Some of these set-up pictures included him working out to get into shape and sitting in a cafe reading a book about the UK. It got to a certain point where her communications officer encouraged her to call her father to find out if it's true or not because it could really be damaging. She ended up calling him and said, "Look, they're saying you're taking money from the tabloids for staged photos. Is it true?" Thomas denied the allegations, but Meghan said that she still didn't believe him. Number 4, questioning her relationship. As a paparazzi presence escalated in Meghan's life, the documentary reveals that at a certain point, her friends tried to make her second-guess her relationship with Harry. Meghan said, "When all of that started happening, my friends and the people in my life who love me and care about me are like, is he worth this? Like, we know that you're happy and we know that you love him, but is he worth this? Look at what's happening to your life." The camera then cuts to an interview with her former personal assistant Chantel Humphrey, who says, "Meg would go to the grocery store and get recognized, and people would say, 'Aren't you that girl from Suits?' Other than that, she had so much freedom. She had such a beautiful life before everything exploded." At one point, Meghan says that she went to the police to flag that she was being stalked by photographers, but she was told, "There's really nothing we can do because of who you're dating." But this changed when she received her first death threat, as she was given security detail to escort her to and from the Suits set. At this point, she says her inner circle began asking her a tough question of whether or not she should be continuing her relationship with Harry. For his part, Harry said, "Dating became a combination of car chases, anti-surveillance driving, and disguises, which isn't a particularly healthy way to start a relationship." Number 3, meeting the royals. The couple got candid about the reception that Meghan received from the royals when she met them for the first time. Reflecting on the time that Will and Kate came over for dinner, Meghan recalled looking a little too casual, walking around barefoot in ripped jeans. She said, "I was a hugger. I've always been a hugger. I didn't realize that that is really jarring for a lot of Brits. I guess I'd start to understand very quickly that the formality on the outside carried through on the inside. There is a forward-facing way of being, and you close the door and go, we can relax now, but that formality carries over on both sides, and that was what was surprising to me." Meghan also spoke about meeting Harry's late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth. She said she didn't know she was going to meet her until moments before, and she remembers thinking Harry was joking when he asked her if she knew how to curtsy, to which she said it was so intense. In a more serious moment, Harry said that his family members were incredibly impressed by Meghan, although some had some obvious misgivings. Quote, "Some of them didn't quite know what to do with themselves. They were surprised. The fact I was dating an American actress was probably what clouded their judgment more than anything else at the beginning, thinking this won't last." Meghan agreed and said that she felt the UK had a particular view of what being an actress meant, and that it was easy to typecast. Number 2, racism in the family. Harry revealed that certain members of the royal family questioned why Meghan should be protected from negative press coverage, reflecting on one headline declaring that his new girlfriend was almost straight out of Compton, which was a reference to her upbringing in Los Angeles. Harry says that the palace's direction to the couple was, "Don't say anything." He said, "But what people need to understand is, as far as a lot of the family were concerned, everything that she was being put through, they had been put through as well. So it was almost like a rite of passage. And some of the members of the family were like, my wife had to go through that, so why should your girlfriend be treated any differently? Why should you get special treatment? Why should she be protected?" And I said, "The difference here is the race element." He went on to say that there is a huge level of unconscious bias in the royal family, and that it's actually no one's fault. But once it has been pointed out or identified within yourself, you need to make it right. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, also spoke about some of the news coverage, claiming that the press would take pictures of different parts of Skid Row, which is an impoverished area in LA, and say that that was where she lived and that was where Meghan was from. Doria also said that she initially warned her daughter that race was playing a significant role in how the tabloid media was responding to her relationship. And number 1, the royal engagement interview. In episode 3 of the new docuseries, Meghan scoffed at the memory of her and Harry's 2017 royal engagement interview. The episode begins with a flashback to the couple's memorable first TV appearance, which Meghan called an orchestrated reality show, revealing that from their adorable photo shoot to the sit-down chat, everything about that announcement was rehearsed. Meghan said from the get-go they weren't allowed to tell their true story when they were faced with questions about their relationship and her family. A flashback of the BBC interview then sees the Duchess looking extremely uncomfortable when she's asked whether or not Harry had met her father, Thomas Markle, who did not attend her 2018 wedding. So according to the new documentary, that interview was essentially fake and they weren't able to fully express themselves. It turns out there were plenty of details about their engagement that they had to keep to themselves. Harry confirmed that the proposal actually took place at home as Meghan was roasting a chicken, and says that he inadvertently tipped her off to something special when he brought home champagne. To set the scene, he set up electric candles in the courtyard of their Kensington Palace cottage, and of course, he got down on one knee.